What up, YouTube? It's your boy Marv Over Matter, back with another video. And today what I'm going to talk about is how men feel about situationships, man. Why men like to be in situationships and they don't often want to progress it to a relationship. So I had a commenter ask me to do this video. She asked basically to do a video on the perspective that men have on situationships. And I think this is going to be really, really helpful for the ladies, because I think that a lot of times y'all misinterpret or misunderstand how men view relationships and what we're getting from the relationship. Because a lot of times ladies will project what you are looking for in a relationship, what you like in relationship, like what you like about men, all those type of things. You project them onto us and think we are looking for those same things in you, and that we want those same things from you, right? And that those are our same kind of desires, and it's just like finding the right person that lines up with those same desires. And some of the desires are going to overlap, but some of them are just male desires and some of them are female desires, and they're just instinctual and we can't really control them, right? So I think one of the biggest things that ladies misunderstand or misinterpret about men is that we truly instinctually want variety in women, right? We want a lot of women. Having a really good woman is good, but having a lot of women for some guys is better. Or for some guys, if you can have a good woman and have a lot of women, that would be the ideal situation, right? So being in a relationship oftentimes causes the man to have to sacrifice that instinct. And it's not like a personal thing of like you're not good enough or you're not beautiful enough or whatever. You could be perfect, but we just have a drive, a natural drive to want to mate with many different women. It's just how we're wired, right? We have 17 times the testosterone that you ladies have, so it's literally just coursing through our veins and making us like mating machines, right? So like I said, when a guy is choosing to be in a relationship, he has to ignore that part of him. It doesn't go away. He just has to ignore that part of him, right? He has to temper it, right? So it's like a constant, it depends on the guy, right? It depends on him, because if he's a guy that, girls never really liked him, then he's not going to feel the same way. He's not going to have the same interactions with women. He's not going to have the same perspective, right? He might be okay. He might want to be in a relationship. A lot of times those guys who don't really have options will want to be in relationships because the alternative is having nobody. So when they get a girl who's willing to be in a relationship with them, they pounce on it and they're like, okay, I need to stick to her because this is guaranteed sex. Otherwise I won't have sex, right? Or it will be very, very hard for me to have sex. So those guys are going to obviously want to be in relationships, but the guys a lot of times that y'all like are the guys that other girls like, which means this guy has options. And because he has options, for him, when he gets in a relationship, it's a sacrifice, because he could not be in a relationship and still fulfill that desire for variety, right? And that's just the cold hard truth. That's just what it is. Guys who are in relationships feel the same way. Like, we just have an instinct for variety. It's evolutionary. We just have that. So with that being said, when we can find a woman who will give us, the benefits of a relationship, they'll give us we can sit back, have good conversations, have a good time, go see a movie, go do this. Like you get all the benefits, like, because we have those emotional needs as well. Like, we want to be with somebody, have a companion, be intimate, not just sexually, but like on a what am I trying to say? On a social level. Like, we still want to have that type of like social interaction with a woman. We enjoy that as well. So if we can find that in a girl, and she also allows us to be with other women without it being an issue, that's the ideal situation, right? No, any guy who is in that situation is going to be like, this is the peak, this is the best point, right? Instinctually. Now, religion, social status, and socioeconomic class, and all these things play a part as well, right? The guy's morals, all that stuff. So that's going to play a part in whether it's actually the best situation for him. But instinctively, on an evolutionary level, that's the best situation you can be in. You get everything out of the woman, right? So y'all giving up everything. You're giving up sex, you're giving up your time, you're engaging in conversation. Like it's a relationship, but he also has the freedom to sleep with other women. So of course he's gonna take that. And the thing is, for him to want to settle down with you, you have to be like perfect to him, like damn near perfect, or he feels like he can't do better. Right? That's what's gonna make a guy feel like, okay, I want to settle down with this one. And it's not necessarily just the looks. It's gonna be looks, but it's gonna be a lot of like how you treat them, how you behave. Loyalty is a huge one. Loyalty is a huge one. We want to see signs of loyalty. We want to see signs of like, okay, she's not gonna be entertaining other guys. She's not really, messing with other guys. We like to see those things. Does that make our urge for variety go away? No. So sometimes you'll see a girl is really loyal, but the guy's still out here doing whatever he's doing because he just can't fight that urge. Right? So I'm not saying that that's foolproof, but these are the things that a guy's gonna want to see before he's like, okay, or at least a guy with options is gonna want to see before he's like, all right, this one is worth, at least trying to give up everybody else for. And you got to think about it like business, right? If a guy is a business, right, and he's selling a product, and you say, oh, hey, look, I'll buy your product. He's gonna be like, all right, cool. You buy the product, but then but you can't sell to anybody else. There's gonna have to be something great about, your deal for him to want to not be able to sell to anybody else. So if he's selling Kit Kats and Walmart says, hey, look, we'll buy your Kit Kats. We'll buy all the Kit Kats you can, but you can't sell to anybody else. There has to be benefits that come along with him not being able to sell to everybody else, right? So Walmart has to be able to distribute to all over the world. Walmart has to be able to, advertise it right. Walmart has to do, bonuses if they sell a certain amount. Like there has to be some incentive for this guy to be like, okay, I'll only sell at Walmart. So that's why standards are really high. And if a guy doesn't see certain qualities, he's not going to want to make you his girl, right? But if you still allow him to sell, right? So think about it like this. You say, all right, I'll buy, and you can still sell anywhere else you want. Of course he's going to stay in that, right? He's going to sell with you. He's going to sell with this girl. He's going to sell with that girl. He's going to sell with all the girls because he has the freedom to. And if you give him the benefits on top of the freedom, he's never going to leave. He's going to be like, oh, this is the ideal situation. If you allow him to, if you give him the advertisement, the distribution all over the world, the bonuses, right, and you allow him to sell to other places, he's going to take that deal. That would be foolish for him not to take the deal, right? So this is where it's on y'all to kind of be like, all right, I can't give all the benefits until I get something in return, right? And the fellas might hate me for this, but that's just the reality. Like, as a woman, if you give all the benefits without anything in return, he's going to sell to you and he's going to sell to everybody else. And that's how y'all need to think about it. And I think that it might be hard for y'all because y'all think he's looking to only sell in one place. Y'all think a guy is just looking for one girl. He's just looking for that best girl, right? Y'all exercise your options because you haven't found the guy that you really want, or if you have, he doesn't want you back, right? It's not reciprocal. That's the reason that, you guys exercise options. But if you could have the best guy and, he was great, treating you right, all this stuff, had the money, you know what I'm saying? Not just treating you right, but had that was challenging as well, right? He was challenging as well, but he treated you well enough, and it was like a good balance between that and, everything financially was there. He looked great, right? He was loyal. He did it. Like, if he was perfect, y'all would be like, this is the only one I need. I don't care about the rest. But for guys, it's truly not like that. We're like, hey, we got the best one. All right, this is ours. But she looked good too, and she looked good too, and that's just our struggle. We just have a different struggle, right? We have a different struggle. Like, it's harder for y'all to find one perfect one, right? And that's y'all struggle. But our struggle is, even if we get the perfect one, we still right? That's our struggle. So we have to constantly manage that urge, right? If we're going to be loyal. So I think understanding like where we're coming from will help you understand why situationships are the ideal situation for us. Now, another reason that it's ideal is because we don't have to feel that sense of like protectiveness, right? That jealousy. We don't have to have that jealousy. A lot of men are jealous in relationships, and the reason is because if they're actually, loyal, they're giving up all the other options that they have, and they're putting all their eggs in your basket. So they're gonna try to make sure nobody else takes the basket, right? Nobody takes an egg, nobody takes anything. So that's why guys will be like, protective and jealous, and I forget, there's another word for it, but I'm forgetting it right now. Territorial, right? A lot of guys say like, I'm territorial, right? Of course, because if somebody comes into your territory and takes your egg or takes your basket, now you're just kind of lost, like you're kind of assed out, because you've given up all these other options. Not only that, but you also look stupid on top of it. So guys in relationships will be like very protective of who talks to their girl, who their girl interacts with, where she goes, how she dresses, all these types of things. But pro tip for the ladies, if he does not feel that way, if he does not act that way, if he does not, and you're in a relationship, like actual relationship, I truly believe more than likely he has not given up his options. Most men. Some men, they really don't care. They're really just chill. They're really not like that. But a lot of men, I think the majority of men, if they don't care in that situation, if they don't really mind or really care, then it's typically because two reasons. Either they don't really understand how things go, right? So they take everything. It's called blue pilled, right? They're blue pilled, and they don't understand that, like, women cheat and women do all these things. So they just don't understand that. They really see women as like angels. And so when they see you talking to, other guys, they don't understand that, yes, you can still be attracted to other guys while you're with them. Like they truly just don't know better, right? So it's either that but typically the guys that know better, they know what's going on, right? So for those guys, I would say more than likely they just kind of haven't given up their options. If they can just freely be like, I don't care, whatever. They just haven't given up their options. So that's a pro tip for you ladies. Don't take that and, be mad at your man, because also some guys will just feel that way and just not show it because they don't want to look weak or they don't want to look jealous. You know what I mean? They don't want to look like that. They don't want to like bring that into the relationship, so they might just hold it in. But they'll be watching, they'll be cognizant of like, okay, who is my girl interacting with? How is she dressing when she goes to this place? How is she dressing when she goes to that place? Like, they'll be aware of it, at least. No guy's just not aware of that knows what's going on out here. But yeah, that's another reason why the situationship is great, because his eggs are not all in the basket, so he doesn't have to care. Like, if you do decide to go and talk to another guy, it's not really an issue, because he hasn't given up his options. He hasn't really sacrificed that variety for you. So it's like, okay, well, I'm doing my thing. So I mean, if she does her thing, would they prefer that you don't? Of course. But it's not a big deal, because he hasn't sacrificed anything, right? We need loyalty when we sacrifice, because if we're being loyal, we need loyalty in return. He's not really being loyal in a sexual sense, so he can't really ask for your loyalty. And also, when a guy is loyal, he feels that much more, invested. If he's in a situationship and there's other girls, he's not really invested. So it's like, if nothing good comes of this, if she goes and finds somebody else and leaves me, whatever, I still have other options. Back to business, right? If I invest in a stock, if I invest in a company, I want the company to do well, right? And I don't want anybody else to buy the company and mess it up. And I don't want the company to leave me. I want, what I'm saying, I want the company to be well and be with me. But if I have my money spread out over a bunch of companies, and then this company, I don't really care if it goes up or down or whatever. It's not as much money. I'm not totally invested in it, so I can afford for it. If it goes well, great. But if it doesn't, all right, cool. It's okay. I got these other companies, these other stocks. All right, that's essentially how it is. And to be honest, typically the woman ends up catching feelings for the guy, So she kind of ends up being loyal to him, but he's still doing his thing. And at this point, he's holding off the relationship. Now, this is not the ideal situation. This is where it becomes like, damn, like it was too good to be true, right? Guys will think it's too good to be true because in the beginning, the girl's like, yeah, whatever, I don't care, whatever, boom, boom. But usually way quicker than us, y'all catch feelings because y'all really like us. And then y'all trying to progress it, or y'all want to progress it. But guys are like, yeah, no, I want to make sure we can get through things. I want to make sure that we're right for each other. I want to, whatever they say, right? They're really just trying to hold off and stay in the situationship because that's the ideal situation. A guy who is looking for a wife, who's really looking for a wife, is not going to be in a situationship. You're not going to be in a situationship. A guy that's really serious about, making you his girl is not going to put you in a situationship. Because he's not going to want to waste his time. He's not going to want to waste his time being in a kind of seeing if y'all dating and kind of investing. Like, no, if he's purposefully looking for a woman to be with, he's going to try to be with her, right? He's going to either be like, hey, we're just talking, right? Or, he's going to be like, okay, a guy who is serious about a relationship is not going to want to waste his time. He might, talk to you for a while, and he may, talk to other girls, but for the most part, he's going to be very intentional. It'll be very clear that this is what he's looking for. He's like, I don't want to waste time. This is what I'm like. He'll approach it with that. Yeah, sorry for the noise, but I had to turn the car on because it just got hot. The phone got hot, cut off. So, but yeah, the type of guy who's gonna be in a situationship is not looking for a relationship, a wife. He's not looking for a wife, right? This is not the same type of guy. Now, can your situationship turn into something and you get married? Yeah, because if your situationship lasts long enough, he's a person, he's going to evolve, right? He may evolve into somebody who's now looking for a relationship, and then he will progress it into being a relationship. He will progress it into you guys being together. But at the point that he just wants it to be a situationship, he's not looking for a wife, right? He's not. So just know that, understand that. And understand that if you make it comfy for him and you make it so that, he can do it, but he can be with you, get all the benefits, but then still, do whatever else he wants, he's going to take that because he gets to fulfill everything, right? He gets to fulfill the need to, the emotional needs, right? He's going to have that from you without having to be too invested where it becomes dangerous, where he becomes vulnerable, right? Basically having all the other women keeps him from being vulnerable, so he can still be invested in you emotionally in some ways, but it's not everything, right? It's not all there. So sometimes these situationships will feel like it's so good, like he's so perfect, but why doesn't he things are going so perfect, so why doesn't he want to move it forward? It's because he knows if I move it forward, it's not going to be perfect no more, because now it's going to come with some discomfort. It's going to come with some vulnerability because there's no safety net. There's no safety net. So, this is basically, even if a guy's not conscious about it, even if he's not, is consciously thinking about it, these are the reasons why guys view situationships the way that they do. It's the ideal situation for us. It really is. And it's not the same for y'all because y'all want to be with somebody, like I said, that one guy who's going to be perfect. And it makes sense on the evolutionary level. It makes sense because it's like, y'all sleep with a guy, you get pregnant, who's going to be around you for the next 9 months to take care of you and make sure everything's safe and make sure everything. So it makes sense for y'all to latch on to a guy. And that's why y'all be latching on when y'all have sex. That's why y'all be latching on when y'all have sex. Literally hormones releasing your body that make you want to attach yourself to this guy. It might not happen the first time, maybe not the second time, but 3, 4, 5 times y'all get attached. It's because you should be pregnant at this point, right? If you didn't have birth control and bro can't pull out, you'd probably be pregnant at this point. So now it makes sense for you to want him, for you to be like, okay, this is the guy, I need to be around him so he can protect me, help me, at least give birth to the baby at the very least. But for us, it's not the same. It's not the same. It's not the same, right? Because we can have multiple babies at the same time. Y'all can only have one, right? This is just evolutionary biology, like how it works. But it plays out the way I was explaining it as well. Just like a business model, right? Like, what is going to be the most beneficial for me? That's just kind of how it is. That's the, you know, cold, hard, like, version of what it is and why we view it the way that we view it, or why we behave in it the way that we behave in it. Why it seems like we all want to be in a situationship. I could go deeper, but maybe I'll do a part 2 if y'all ask for it. But I think that should suffice for, you know, for now. That's what it is. Hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully y'all understand more like our perspective on it. You see how like it makes sense for guys to want to be in a situationship versus y'all. Like, it doesn't make sense. It's kind of the not worst situation, but it's the worst situation, honestly, for y'all to be in a situationship based on your needs and your, you know, the things that y'all want. But, you know, now with this information, you hopefully can move forward and deal with things better in as far as relationships go. All right, ladies, so that's the video for today. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think. Drop some more topics in the comment section. I got my coaching calls in the description box, Instagram in the description box, and y'all know what it is. It's mind over matter, Marvel over matter. Let's get it.